If you are hunting trouble, lad, you found it!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a new video. In this video, I'm going to be doing a Enlisted pistols tier list. Of course, it's not going to include any premium squad or premium pistol related things at all, just the pistols you can get by normally progressing through the tech tree. And you unlock your first batch when you get Tech 1 fully researched, I'm pretty sure. Then the second batch, which includes all the 300 to 750 cost pistols when you have Tech 2 researched for that specific army. And I'm sorry if I get any information wrong or anything. You know, there's just mostly off the top of my head in the spreadsheet I've made for all the pistols, comparing the stats and everything, which are taken directly, from the game. But some of the numbers listed in the game are wrong because the weapons just end up feeling different when you actually use them. So take the numbers in listed sets with a little bit of grain of salt. Some weapons are going to be objectively worse feeling than the numbers they list on the weapon stat profile. So yeah, for a little bit of context before the list starts, the stats for the standard starting rifle usually go as follow. I think all four of them, besides like one of them, have this exact same stat line, right? Hit power of 20.5, muzzle velocity of 720, RPM of 54, reload time of 3.1, shots deviation of 16, a recoil vertical plus horizontal. So the first number is vertical and the second is going to be horizontal for this stat, and a magazine size of 5. So that's like the standard rifle for reference when I talk about all the other stats for all the other weapons. You're going to have that as a frame of reference. In the soldier health pool in Enlisted is 10. With the vitality perk, it goes up to 13.5. So with a regular rifle, usually up to about 300 meters, you're going to be able to kill somebody instantly with it with a single shot, unless you hit them in the leg or something. So with the pistols, yeah, it's going to be a lot different. You're not really going to be using them at far range at all, so I won't really be judging them off of that. And everything is also opinions, of course. You can dislike and like stuff that I said was good or bad, but you already knew that because it's a ranking video. It's inherently opinion based. but yeah, let's get right on into it. I'm gonna be doing this in order of faction as they are listed in the game. So yeah, on to the first pistol. The first pistol we have in the list is going to be the TK 1926, which is a semi-automatic pistol for Russia. And yeah, the TK 1926. I think like anybody who plays this game knows it's probably one of the worst pistols. Probably, definitely not the single worst pistol, but like it's getting there. It's got a hit power of 4.4. At 100 meters, that goes down to 1.1. And at 200 meters, or if you somehow even hit a shot above that range, it's 0.4. That's not even a full number. It would take like if you wanted to kill somebody with the TK 1926, right, at a range of more than like 200 meters, or around a range of 200 meters, you need probably 2 or 3 entire magazines with it, and I think you only get like 4 magazines worth of ammo. Excuse me, like 5 magazines worth of ammo in total. So it's just, it's got horrible damage. It's got horrible range. The muzzle velocity is quite low too. Actually, it's also one of the lowest, I think. Let me see. Yeah, it's actually second place. Second place in the entire pistol selection, the entire pistol list, right? Of lowest muzzle velocity, so it's going to take a little bit for the bullet to actually get to the target. The rounds per minute is 360, which is actually the standard for semi-automatic. The reload time is 2.2. which is actually decently decently quick. You know, the quickest, which is also kind of the average, is 2 seconds. So it's a little bit longer than the average, but it's not terrible. Shot deviation is 110, which is absolutely awful. It's one of the worst. I think the highest... Actually, hold on, let me check. I'm looking at my list right now. Yeah, it is the highest shot deviation of any pistol in the game. That's crazy. That is absolutely nuts. The recoil on it is going to be 28 plus 12, which is actually very low because, you know, it's a very small pistol. And it says the caliber is 6x35, which I don't know, maybe that's just the designation it was classified as in the Russian army, but I'm pretty sure in real life, according to Wikipedia at least, it shot 25 ACP, which is, yeah, a very small, ineffective round in real life. And it has a magazine size of 8, which is pretty average. You know, it's only one above the average magazine capacity for most of the sidearms in the game. But yeah, what do I think about the TK? It's awful. It's like the Walter PPK without any of the redeeming qualities that the Walter PPK has, and that isn't even a good pistol either. Spoiler alert. But yeah, it's very pitiful. It feels incredibly weak to use. You're gonna need 3 shots even at close range, and sometimes you literally just don't have the time to squeeze those off. I don't know if headshots are even a guaranteed instant kill in this game, especially with pistols. But if it's just a simple damage multiplier and just like doubles the damage, even if you got a headshot, it might not be an insta kill. But you know, that's just hearsay. That's just an excuse to give it F tier even more, even though I was already gonna put it in F tier. So yeah, for the TK 1926, incredibly ineffective, genuinely just not worth the money. I think Russia honestly has the worst pistol selection, not counting the C96, since that's sort of a multi-faction pistol, not exclusive to them. I think they have genuinely just the worst pistol selection, just because, like, this and the Nagant are kind of useless, and that's what you're going to be having on most of your troops, unless you want to splurge on TTs. But, yeah, TTKs, excuse me. But yeah, that's going to be it for the TK 1926. I do not recommend. It gets a solid F tier. The next to Russia is going to be the Nagant 1895 revolver, which is, well, a revolver used mainly by officers of the Russian army in the Soviet Union during World War I and II. And a little side tangent here, but I really think it would be cool if we could maybe get like an officer class in the game that would use a pistol as his primary weapon and would give, like, you know, give out buffs and stuff, like you know, the officer class in Star Wars Battlefront, something like that. I think would be really cool. You know, they come with a sword by default or something. But knowing the devs, they'd make it like a $20 premium squad or something stupid. But that tangent aside, yeah, the Nagant, the hit power is going to be 5.1, which is actually 2 points lower than the average, because the average pistol hit power is actually 5.3. I think, yeah, I'm looking at the spreadsheet. I think 5.3 and a few of them are 5.5, but it's around that range. So the Nagant is like a little bit at a really weird specific number that isn't repeated at all when it comes to hit power. Its damage reduction over distance is also very harsh. At 100 meters, you're only doing 1.2, and at 200 and above, you're only doing 0.5, which is also pitiful. It would take forever to kill somebody at that point. The muzzle velocity is also really low, not as low as the TK, but it's getting there at 285. The rounds per minute is 180, which is, yeah, pretty slow. And the reload time, oh, oh lord, the reload time. The longest in the entire game of any pistol that isn't like a premium pistol, right? 7.2 seconds start to finish. the video I'm putting up on the screen of me shooting it, you can see me like wiggling my mouse around because it just takes that long. I'm just like actually just frustrated, even in the targeting range, with how long it takes to reload the Nagant. The shots deviation is actually, I think, the lowest of any pistol at 40, so it's going to be on target most of the time. I think even if you're hip firing it, but personally I feel like hip firing it is not a good idea. It's the type of thing you want to try and get like actual kill shots in with, and not just be goofing around shooting in somebody's direction like you can with the Colt or most of the other semi-autos. The vertical is going to be 32 plus 22, which is pretty high actually for pistols. Pretty high recoil because, you know, it is a revolver. The caliber for it is going to be 7.62 and the magazine size is 7 bullets. So it takes about 1 second to reload each bullet, and an extra 2 seconds, 0.2 seconds added on to that because, you know, you deserve to be tortured, I guess. But yeah, that's the Nagant 1895. What do I think about it personally? It's also pretty terrible. It's also genuinely just bad, just not a good fallback weapon. For Russia, I feel like you really should just either get the C96 or the TT, or just like don't use pistols for them at all. You know, not counting the premium pistols, but we aren't talking about those. But yeah, it's just awful. It's awful. It's not worth the silver. Like, you're not gonna do anything with the Nagant that you couldn't be doing with like your primary weapon. Just like risking it and taking that 3 seconds to reload your tier 1 rifle, right? So yeah, that's it for the Nagant. I think it's also going to be an F tier, mostly because the really low muzzle velocity. It feels like it takes a while for bullets to actually get to the target. And the absolutely atrocious reload time. That's unforgivable. Like, even some of the other revolvers in this game have a reload time that's shorter by 2 or 3 seconds. It's kind of ridiculous. It is just absolutely awful. I don't recommend, like, I got the silenced variant from a silver crate, right? And it's just awful too. Like, it was literally premium weapon. Like, that's like something they expected people to pay actual money for. It's just the same thing, but it's silenced now. It's terrible, but at least you get a silencer. But yeah. Rant aside, Nagant 1895, another F tier. Alright, the next pistol for Russia, which is also a pistol for Germany, is going to be the Mauser C96, also known as the Red 9 in some places, as it was produced in its original caliber of 7.63, as well as being rechambered for 9mm, depending on which country was making it and for what purpose. But yeah, the stats are the following. It has a hit power of 5.3, muzzle velocity of 400, rounds per minute of 360, which is pretty average, reload time of 2, which is very short, especially for such a, you know, large magazine size, shots deviation of 80, which is actually pretty low for pistols, relatively speaking, you know, some of the best in the whole category, a recoil of 32 plus 22, and then, you know, a magazine size of 10. So what do I think about the C96? I think it's actually an amazing pistol, and probably the single best pistol Russia has access to. It's actually probably the best for Germany too, honestly. It's got really great stats. The damage reduction is 1.3 at 100 meters and 0.5 at 200, which 1.3 at 100 meters is actually on the higher side of damage at far ranges. But yeah, it's pretty good. It has a total ammo of 50, you know, your initial 10 magazine and the 40 in reserve. Yeah, it's just a great pistol, absolutely great pick. 750 is a little bit steep, but that's, you know, pretty much all the semi-autos that aren't complete trash are going to cost 750, so you just gotta swallow it, you know, grin and bear it if you want that pistol for your tank crewman or your assaulter or whatever, whoever you're getting it for. I think personally pistols are usually more reliable than having a secondary weapon slot. But yeah, what do I rate the Mauser? Honestly, from it just being so good and from being on 2 factions instead of 1, I'm just gonna have to give the Mauser S tier. It's gonna be it's gonna be the first S tier of the video. You know, I just love the Mauser. I love the broom handle. I love how it looks. It feels great to use in the game. You know, reloads very quickly. Reloads the entire magazine, even if you only shot a few shots off, and it only takes 2 seconds. So you can get right back into fighting, just like a click away. You know. So yeah, it's gonna be for the Mauser C96, also known as the Red 9. It's gonna be a solid S tier. Alright, the next pistol on the list is going to be the Tokarov pistol, also known as the TT in this game. I think it's more commonly known as the TTK, although that could be a completely different variant, and I'm just incorrect. I'm not a history buff or anything. But yeah, the stats on this are going to be the following. Hit power of 5.3, muzzle velocity of 400, RPM of 360, reload time is 2 seconds, shots deviation is 92, which is pretty high. I think one of the highest, actually. Yeah, one of the highest. Recoil is going to be 32 plus 22, which is the same as the Mauser. The magazine size is only 8, however. Caliber is 7.62, just like the Nagant, even though it shouldn't be, because I'm pretty sure the caliber the TT actually used was entirely different and also much smaller, although I could just be wrong about that. I'm not sure. But yeah, the TT, what do I think about the TT? It's how it functions in game. I think the sights are definitely better than the Mauser, right? But it just feels weaker. You know, it's got less bullets. The reload is not. It doesn't feel as fast, even with it being 2 seconds. Also, it doesn't really feel as fast. The shots deviation for the TT is also much higher than the Mauser. Yeah, I just double checked. Much higher than the Mauser. And the magazine size is lowered by 2 bullets, even though you can keep that extra bullet in there. But, you know, it's just genuinely just weaker than the Mauser, while also being the same price. I think they maybe should rework the TT into maybe being like not 750. I don't think it's worth 750 personally. But is it terrible? No, it's not terrible. It's like B tier. You know, that's what I'm gonna give it. The TT is B tier. It feels okay to use. The sights are pretty good. It's just like a worse version of the Mauser. But it doesn't deserve A tier. It's not as good as the Mauser at all, and I really, prefer you guys just buy the Mauser over the TT if you are planning to use pistols as Russia at all. Excuse me. But yeah, that'll be it for the TT, and that's going to be the last of the pistols for Russia. Alright, next up is going to be Allies, the pistol rating, and we're starting off very horribly with the Enfield number 2 Mark 1, which is a small caliber revolver that I think is only 125. 125 in cost, excuse me. So the stats are as follows. A hit power of 5, which is very terrible. Over 100 meters, it actually has a hit power of 2.5, which weirdly enough is actually really, really high. Like for a long range fighting, that's actually really good damage for some reason. And over 200, it has 1.8, which I think is also one of the highest for pistol damage over 200 meters, weirdly enough. So yeah, good job for being like your only redeeming quality. I'm gonna be honest. Excuse me. Before I start ranting, let me read out the rest of the stats. Muzzle velocity is 190, which is basically just like you're throwing rocks at that point. Like your bullet's never gonna reach the target, especially if you fired from far away. The round per minute is 170, which is somehow even worse than a gun. The reload time is absolutely atrocious at 5.8. The shots deviation is really good at 65. Not amazing, but good. The recoil is super low, but not mega low on the vertical. It's going to be 35 plus 17. The caliber is 9mm, apparently. And the magazine size is 6. But yeah, infield. Genuinely, I think the single worst weapon in all of Enlisted. Even compared to the knife. Because at least with the knife, you're killing somebody instantly, okay? You like poke them and they die. With the infield, you don't. That bullet, you just sunk, those 2 bullets you just sunk into somebody, they might as well be bouncing off their skin like rubber balls. Rubber balls thrown at a tank. Because it doesn't feel like it does any damage at all, even in close range. I'm like serious, the infield is not worth, it's not worth your breath. If you want to play allies in this game, just wait till you unlock the Colt and just buy a bunch of Colts. It's gonna save you so much frustration in the future. Because all of the revolvers, I feel like Enlisted in general, all of the revolvers are terrible. They're absolutely terrible. But yeah, the infield feels terrible to use. It's small, it's puny, doesn't feel like you're doing anything at all. The sights are a little bit awkward on it. It feels incredibly weak to use. So yeah, that's the infield. It's going to be an F tier, obviously. And yeah, that'll be it for the infield. On to the next weapon. Alright, the next weapon on the allies list is going to be the Colt New Service, which is hit power of 6.5, which is actually a 3-way tie between that, the M1911, and the Browning HP. It has a muzzle velocity of 250, which is actually a pretty low, yeah, actually one of the lowest. RPM of 240, which is actually pretty high for a revolver. You can squeeze off a lot of shots with this. A reload time of 5.2, however, which is atrocious. You know, it's pretty bad. It's one of the worst. A shots deviation of 70, which is pretty good. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, recoil of 37 plus 25, which is pretty bad. You know, it's pretty bad. Ugh. The caliber is 45 and the magazine size is 6. I think you reload the rounds. I forgot if this was the one with the moon clip. Hold on. No, never mind. This is the one that you reload individual rounds in. So yeah, that's pretty nasty. 5.2. That's gross. Really long reload time. It feels maybe a little bit short in the actual game, and they just never changed the number after buffing it. But yeah, it's kind of a long reload time. I wouldn't really put my life on the Colt New Service. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, it's just another stinky revolver. It's gonna get C tier. You know, nothing personal. I just don't like revolvers in this game, like at all. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the Colt New Service. Ugh. Alright, the next pistol, revolver, whatever, is going to be the Smith & Wesson Model 1917, which is basically just like the Colt New Service, but it reloads. It's pretty much identical to the Colt New Service, but it has a rounds per minute of 90, so a way slower fire rate, and it only reloads in 3 seconds instead of 5.2. The shots deviation is identical. The recoil is a little bit higher at 42 plus 22. But yeah, the magazine size, or cylinder size, I guess, is the same. But yeah, it's just, it hits very hard, but is made completely obsolete by the 1911, as they have identical hit power, and the 1911 is just objectively better. So, yeah, it's just suffering revolver syndrome. I'm going to put it in B tier, however, because it really does feel like it hits hard, you know. And the moon clip reloading quicker is very convenient. I think it's only 300, so pretty decent actually for 300. But yeah, that'll be it for the 1917. It's going to be going right into B tier. The American Classic, the M1911, is a semi-automatic 45 caliber pistol. It has a hit power of 6.5, a muzzle velocity of 250, RPM of 360, which is average, reload time of 2 seconds, shots deviation of 90, a very pretty low recoil of actually, let me see, it's pretty mid recoil of 35 plus 23, in a magazine size of 7, plus I think you get an extra if you already have one in the chamber. But yeah, it's the American Classic, you know, it's the 1911. Super reliable, one of the most reliable pistols. Will usually always kill in 1 or 2 shots. You know, 1 if it's already wounded enemy, and 2 usually, unless you're at like a super far range. The damage reduction is also actually pretty good on it too. Let me check and see my reference. Yeah, it's actually got an amazing damage reduction. It still does 4.4 damage at 100 meters and 2.6 at 200, which is one of the highest in all of the game actually for pistols. So yeah, the 1911, gold standard of handgun technology. I do, however, think it gets outclassed by the Browning HP, but the 1911 is solid at A tier. Highly recommend if you're playing Allies. And, you know, just using it because it's a classic too. You know, it's an American classic. It's an icon in the world of guns and war both. So yeah, that's going to be it for the 1911, a solid A tier. Foundational weapon for the game. Alright, the next and final pistol for the Allies is going to be the Browning High Power, which is a 9mm pistol, which actually a few different countries produced during the war. Germany used a few of them because they captured factories that produced them, and since they already had a lot of 9mm laying around, they're like, well, instead of making this factory make a different gun, we'll just have them make Browning still, and just give those to our officers and you know, vehicle commanders, etc., vehicle crew, etc. So I think they maybe should bring the Browning HP to Germany, and I think they only haven't because Germany already has so many pistols already. But it would be neat, you know, if we got more, if we got it as like a, you know, a capture weapon or whatever. But that random like history thing aside, yeah, the hit power is going to be 5.5. Muzzle velocity is 370, which is actually really good, one of the best even. An RPM of 420, which is the single highest. A reload time of 2 seconds. Shots deviation of 90, which is high. So yeah, maybe don't try to use it at range. The damage reduction over distance is also very punishing. It's only 2.6 at 100 and 1.9 at 200. So that's pretty punishing. Recoil is looking like 23 plus 29. I'm hoping I'm not looking at the wrong line right now. But yeah, and the magazine size is 13. So what do I think about the Browning HP? It's gold. It's just gold. It's gold. You know, amazing magazine size, amazing fire rate, amazing everything about it pretty much. The shots deviation isn't great, but you're not supposed to be using it at long range anyway because it's a pistol. And yeah, I could pretty comfortably put this in the S tier as like probably the single best pistol in the entire game, not counting like premium squad stuff. And it probably does outclass a lot of premium squad stuff too. Like, you know, the Browning HP is just that good. If you're in the right position, you can literally mow down an entire squad worth because it only takes 2 shots per person, and you have the extra shot just in case you need it. So yeah, that's it. You know, I'm done glazing it. It's the single best pistol in like the whole game. Easy S tier. Above the C96. The C96 wishes it could be the Browning HP, but they're both great. They're both great. But yeah, that's it for the Browning HP, and we're moving on to the pistols for Germany. Alright, the first pistol we have here is the Beretta M1934, which has a hit power of 5, a muzzle velocity of 270, rounds per minute of 360, which is average, reload time of 2 seconds, which is good, shots deviation of 95, which is kind of bad, 31 plus 17. It's got really bad vertical recoil. So yeah, take that into consideration. You're going to be bouncing up a lot when you're shooting it. The caliber is 9 by 17, which is a variant of 9mm, which is a little bit smaller than the other ones. It has a magazine size of 7. Damage reduction over distance, it's actually pretty decent at 100 meters, doing 2.5. So you can reasonably kill somebody in about 4 shots, not even the whole magazine at that far away if you can hit your shots with it. And yeah, it's all right. It's pretty good for like I think it's 300. Costs 300. It is a pretty solid pistol for what it does. You know, 5 damage, whole 5 damage is pretty good. You can reasonably knock people down in 2 shots if you're close range. And if they're already damaged, yeah, you're definitely going to kill them in 2 shots. So yeah, it's just going to be B tier. I mean, like, it's a pretty average pistol, honestly. Alright, the Beretta model 1923. The stats for this one are going to be 5.3 hit power, 300 muzzle velocity, so it's an upgrade above the 34 despite being the earlier model, which is kind of weird. The reload time is 2.3, so it's a little bit slower to reload. A shots deviation of 105, which is the absolute worst besides the TK, absolute worst besides the TK. A recoil of 22 plus 22. Caliber is 9mm, and the magazine size is 7. So honestly, I'm gonna give this C tier. It's just the 1934, but I feel like a little bit worse, despite having more muzzle velocity and a little bit more damage. The slower recoil and having like genuinely one of the worst shots deviations in the entire pistol lineup just makes it worse, though. Although I think visually it does look cooler, despite being the predecessor to the 34. I think it does look visually cooler than it, the actual view model. So yeah, it's going to be C tier for the 1923. Next pistol up for Germany is going to be the Walther PPK, which is the sort of a shortened version of the Walther PP. And the Walther PPK was made a little bit lighter. It's meant for light police use and stuff like that. Not really any sort of heavy military jobs at all, but they were used in the military, of course, just due to a supply thing, and also used by things like agents, secret police, stuff like that. And yeah, the stats for it are the following: hit power is 5, muzzle velocity is 300, rounds per minute is 360, reload time is 2 seconds, shots deviation is 100, which is terrible. Ugh. Recoil is 27 vertical and 18 horizontal, so it's got a little bit of vertical kick. The caliber is 9mm, of course, and the mag size is 8. Excuse me, am I reading this right? No, the mag size is 7 on the PPK. Excuse me, I was accidentally reading the PP stats. But yeah, that PPK is just, I think it draws out, you can like switch to it really quickly, I'm pretty sure, compared to a lot of the other pistols, so it's a very fast drawing weapon. It's actually, despite the stats being very middling, let me check this again, yeah. It's got a terrible damage over distance, as you would expect from a tiny little pistol. But yeah, I think it's really good for vehicle crews in the early game when you don't want to spend money on giving them a primary weapon, right? And you just want them to have something they can pop out with and start popping shots off before they get shot by an actual soldier with an actual gun, right? So I don't hate it, but I'm just gonna have to give the PPK a C tier. It's not really that great or anything, So yeah, sorry PPK. I think you're also a very iconic pistol, and James Bond and stuff. It's one of the more well-known pistols of World War II. But yeah, that's it for the PPK. All right, for the Walther PP The hit power is going to be 5, muzzle velocity 300, RPM 360, reload time 2, so identical in those stats to the PPK, since it's literally just a longer version of the PPK. The shots deviation is 88, which is pretty harsh actually. The recoil is a lot less, however, with it being 29 plus 19, so a lot less than the PPK. Excuse me, hold on, am I reading this right? I'm sorry, it's very late. It's hard for me to even check my my little spreadsheet here. The recoil is actually worse than the PPK somehow. At 48 plus 32, that's awful. Oh god. I might have been wrong about the PPK. I think the PP might actually be worse. Its only redeeming factor is that it gets an extra bullet and it has 10 less shot deviation. But 48 is the high... Bro, what? I'm looking through this. 48 is the highest in the entire game for pistols. Okay, let me check. Surely I got that wrong. Surely I got that wrong at some point. No, I didn't. It's 48 plus 32. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we found the worst semi-auto pistol. Okay, not as bad as the TK, but one of the worst. That's I'm sorry, that's gonna be it's gonna be F tier for me. I had an initial assumption that it would be better than the PPK, but it doesn't have the quick draw that the PPK does, and some of these stats are absolutely atrocious. Actually, looking at the spreadsheet, so yeah, it's gonna have to go on F tier. I'm sorry, Walter PP. Even though I like you, I think you visually look better than the PPK. It looks kind of like a Makarov, which I think the Makarov was actually based off the Walter. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the Walter PP. It needs to go reconsider its life choices or something. I don't know. Alright, next is going to be another World War II classic, that being the Walter P38, which was a service pistol of the German army during World War II. And yeah, I think only World War II, it was not introduced early enough to be an interwar pistol like some of these other ones were. But yeah, the stats are 5.5 hit power, so 2 above the average, a muzzle velocity of 370, which is actually pretty high. It's actually pretty good. RPM of 360, a reload time of 2 seconds, which is standard, shot deviation of 88, which is actually pretty good, a recoil of 29 plus 19, which, yeah, it's a little bit high on the vertical, but not insane or anything. It's a 9mm and the magazine size is 8. So what do I think about the P38? Yeah, it's pretty alright. The damage reduction over distance is pretty typical for a 750 silver pistol, too. I didn't really put that stat on the spreadsheet because it would be a little bit too big for me to even read. It's a little bit hard for me to read with all of these different stats next to each other to begin with. But the Walter P38 is, it's effective. It's effective, okay? I will give it that. It works. It does its job. I think it might be a little bit overpriced, maybe, for 750. But yeah, it works. It works. It's just gonna be like a B tier, though. It's not really worthy of A tier, I feel like. But yeah, that's it for the P38. It's pretty, just really middling pistol. Next is an icon of both World War I and II, and that is the Luger P08. Which, fun fact, apparently the U.S. Army almost adopted the P08, but for logistical, I think it was logistical reasons, they chose the 1911, either logistical reasons or stopping power. They chose the 1911 over the Luger. But yeah, the Luger is probably one of my favorite guns visually. The stats are, I'm not even going to read all the stats for it. It's basically identical to the Walter, but you're having 4 more seconds of reload time and a little bit more vertical recoil for getting 2 less shot deviation. That's about it. Like, wow. It literally says as a description, in comparison with the Walther P38, the Luger P08 has higher muzzle velocity. That's not even true. Hold on, I'm looking at the stat. Let me check. I'm looking at the stats right now. They both have 370. What are you talking about? Like the P38 is like a little bit, weighs a little bit less in grams, weighs like a small bit less. But that's not even true. They have identical muzzle velocity. I don't know, maybe that's just like the devs were tripping and they just forgot to change that. Or maybe it is like a secret change they did and it's different like that in actual gameplay, right? But just looking at paper, yeah, they're basically identical, but the P08 is worse. Like, I love its design, right? It's a very iconic pistol, but it's just getting the C tier. It's just getting the C tier. It's like both of them. Ugh, ugh, ugh. Yeah, that's all I can say. All right, that's it for the Germany and Italy pistols. Going to be moving on to the last category, which is going to be the Japanese pistols. Alright, the first of the 4 Japanese pistols we have is the Type 94, which, more fun historical trivia. It was actually a very dangerous pistol to use in real life, as the section that is like the sort of in-between section of the frame and the middle of the barrel, there is a pretty large actually section of it to where if you pressed it even lightly, it would cause the firing pin to go off and, you know, make a round go off without you wanting it to, right? So it was actually a very dangerous pistol to use in real life. I don't even think it had a safety either. I might be wrong about that, because it might have not, though, because, you know, the Japanese they didn't really have the extra resources to even put safeties on some of their weapons, I'm pretty sure. But, yeah, it's just... Okay, on to the stats before I rant about it, right? A 5.3 for hit power, so 2 under the average. And that is the average hit power for Japanese pistols, by the way, is going to be 5.3. A muzzle velocity of 310, which is pretty mid. RPM of 360, very mid. Reload time of 2.5, which is actually, you know, it's getting up there in speed. It's above 2, certainly. Shot deviation of 100, which is terrible. And you feel it, okay? You can feel that shot deviation. It hits you like a truck. It's awful. A vertical plus horizontal recoil of 34 plus 17. The caliber is at 8 something. And the magazine size is 6, which is incredibly small. So what do I feel about the Type 94? It's the worst feeling pistol to use in the entire game, like, genuinely. Next to the TK. It's like a personal vendetta thing, right? I'm just going to say it's a personal vendetta thing. I hate using the Type 94. As soon as I got access to the Type 1 and the Type 2, I immediately switched to those. It's just the Type 94 is like, it feels like actual crap to use, and if you try to hip fire it, you will never hit anything, never ever. You know, it was a terrible pistol in real life. It's a terrible pistol in the game. A+ for historical accuracy. F tier for the actual weapon in the game. It's not even worth your silver. It's not even worth your silver. Good damage reduction over distance for a gun that only costs 300 silver, however. You get 2.7 damage at 100 and 1.9 at 200 meters. But yeah, stay away from this pistol. It's terrible. It looks dumb. It's very awkward to handle. Pretty crap to use. So yeah, that's gonna be it. That's gonna be the Type 94. And the next pistol for the Japanese is gonna be the Type 1 pistol, which I think is also 300 silver. It has a hit power of 5, muzzle velocity of 300, so a little bit worse than the Type 94. RPM of 360, reload time of 2.8, which is atrocious actually. All the Japanese pistols have atrocious reload time for some unknown reason, despite, you know, Japan not needing any more nerfs. You know, thankfully they got buffed recently, but like still, I don't think you should nerf the least played faction. But yeah, the shots deviation is gonna be 92, which is ugh. That's nasty, you know. Not like super bad, but pretty bad. Recoil is actually super low at 25 plus 12. Caliber is 7.65, which was probably different in real life. They just did that for game engine reasons or something. And the magazine size is 9, which is actually really good. I think magazine size is like super important when it comes to pistols in this game. It really is a deciding factor whether or not something is good. But just looking at this stat sheet, the shots deviation is kind of atrocious. It has a very poor damage over distance. I'm seeing on the little image of it right now. I think it's a C tier pistol. You know, it's definitely not as bad as the Type 94. None of these are, but it's a very C tier pistol. It's like, if you want to use it, go ahead, but there's better stuff available. Oh, excuse me. It's just one of those types, you know, if you want to use it, go ahead, but there's definitely better stuff available. Alright, the next pistol in the docket, and the second to last, is going to be the Type 2 pistol, which has a 5.3 hit power, muzzle velocity of 310. So, you know, a little bit. It's identical to the Type 94's muzzle velocity. 360 reload time of 2.7, which is pretty long. Shots deviation of 78, which is really good actually. A 31 and 13 recoil. Caliber is 8. And a magazine size of 6, which is actually pretty low. But it's definitely better than the Type 1 pistol. All around improvement over the Type 1 pistol when it actually comes to playing the game. You know, the best for recoil in the entire of Japan's... Excuse me, the best for shot deviation in the entire of Japan's selection. I do recommend this. Probably even over the Nambu, like, I'm gonna be honest. They have pretty similar stats. The Nambu is just a little bit quicker to reload and has higher shot deviation. But, yeah, the Type 2, it's pretty good at, honestly. Honestly, probably Japan's best pistol for actual functionality, not just swag like the Nambu is. But yeah, for all of these things, I'm only going to give it a B, though, because it is pretty bad compared to everything else on the list. The enlisted list, you could say. The enlist, yeah. But yeah, that's it for the Type 2 pistol for Japan. Alrighty, for the last pistol on the list, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have the Type 14 Nambu, which has a hit power of 5.3, a muzzle velocity of 310, 360 RPM, reload time of 2.6, which is ugh. Shots deviation of 86, which is crazy for a 750 pistol. Like, you think it would be a lower, given this is like Japan's iconic gun too, and you probably want people using it more over the Type 2. And the vertical plus horizontal is 2917, which is actually pretty low. So it has pretty good recoil, you know, really controllable. Caliber is 8, and the magazine size is 8. See, yeah, like, it kind of spoiled with the Type 2. I think the Type 2 is probably better than the Nambu is, but the Nambu just looks so cool. So I'm going to have to give it a B tier too. Like, for pure functionality, it's probably a C tier, but I like the swag of it. I like its presentation. You know, it's probably one of the most unique pistols ever made when it comes to looks. Although in real life, apparently, the reliability and function was pretty terrible. But, yeah, the Nambu, the final weapon on the list, is going to be a good old B tier. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen, for our video today. I hope you enjoyed it. That's, you know, all the pistols. I might have forgotten one, I'm not sure, actually, because there's just so many. It, like, took me a while to make this little spreadsheet that I'm using. you know, I'm going to have the sort of final score displayed right now as I'm talking. This sort of final finished tier list. So yeah, that's going to be it. I hope you enjoy the video, and I hope you'll join me next time as I, in the future, probably far in the future actually, because this one's going to take a ton of research and testing. I'm thinking about making a full tier list for the entire weapon and vehicle selection of tier 1 for Enlisted in general, like the entire first tier, right? Not just like for a single faction, but like the entire thing across the 4 different factions. So subscribe, I guess, if you're interested in seeing that in the future. I never ever asked for subscribers though, and I probably never will, but like do it if you want to, I guess. But yeah, that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope the video wasn't too terrible or anything. I know my mic quality is going to be awful for the next like probably year until I can get a new one that's actually decent. So just expect the terrible mic quality with a fan on in the background. That's like my channel staple. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I am out. Okay, yeah, I just want to add this as an addendum to the end of the video, right? Because I completely forgot the Webley. And like, you know, I'm glad I forgot the Webley, actually. Because, fuck the Webley. Look at this. Look at this. This is garbage. It's like everything that's wrong with the infield, wrong with the Smith & Wesson, wrong with the Colt News Service, is wrong with the fucking Webley. Revolvers are terrible in this game. They take forever to reload. You're never ever gonna hit your shots hip fire ever. It's like you're pissing into a fucking ocean. Like trying to drink a fucking pool through a straw, right? It's just... Let me go pick up the Colt. Alright, you see this? You see how much easier that was to use? You see how I'm on target more, right? I could probably hip fire this and still hit it. Yeah, yeah. You see how hip firing actually fucking functions?
What the fuck? Thanks, mate.